Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast on the Mike Francesa channel, on the Bet Rivers Network, on YouTube. After what was basically a Saturday afternoon stroll through the month of May, because there's nothing redeeming to be said about this game from a Knicks standpoint. This, if you remember what I said after game two, my whole commentary after game two was, okay, it was amazing. It was unexpected. It was legendary. We know all that. It had never been done before. No team had won back-to-back playoff games on the road from 20 points back. Okay, we know all that. They stunned the Celtics. You want to say the Celtics took them for granted? Whatever. The Knicks deserve the credit for what they did, and they took the bows, and they lit up the city for days. But I stressed that night, and it's the first thing that came to me that I thought that night, and it was the thing I thought about ever since game two was played. Do not allow them to come back here and completely erase the thought of the first two games by just coming in here and manhandling you in game three. And that is exactly what happened. Was I surprised the Celtics jumped out to a lead? No. I thought the Celtics would come out. I thought they would execute. I thought they'd hit shots. They did all that. But when you thought, all right, the Knicks will make one of their comebacks, and here we go, time in the second quarter to put a dent into it, the Celtics never let them put a dent into it. The Celtics never let them put a dent into it at any point in this game. They played the game from the second quarter through the final minutes of play when they both cleared the bench with a 20-point to 30-point lead. They put a enthusiastic, excited, star-dripping Madison Square Garden crowd on a Saturday afternoon. And remember, the Saturday afternoon crowds, I've told you, are not nearly the same. The Monday night crowd will be completely different. It will be energized. It will be a little tanked up. It will have thought about it all afternoon. The guys in the city who are going to the game, I can't wait to go to the game. This is it. And now this game takes on the pivotal importance that has been spun into it by what happened today. Here's how I sum up today's game. I sum up today's game in two players' lines. OG Anunoby, 31 minutes, 2 points. 1 for 6 from the floor, 0 for 2 from 3-point. 2 points, 2 rebounds. Okay? No blocks, no steals, nothing. The other line, which is completely emblematic of this game, Pritchard, off the bench. I told you the other night, I thought the biggest mistake that the Celtics made was not keeping Pritchard on the floor, because he is an aggressive, confident, little pain in the rear end kind of player who is not afraid to take a shot, not afraid to go to the basket, not afraid to make a play. And he hit 2 big threes in the fourth quarter, and they yanked him out of the game, never put him back in. One Pritchard basket could have changed the fourth quarter of that game. Today, Pritchard played 34 minutes. He had 23 points. 23 points from the sixth man. 5 of 10 from 3. Daggers, big shots. Okay, pain in the neck hits. He was 8 for 16 from the floor. He even had 4 rebounds and a couple of assists and a steal and all the things you expect, okay? Look at the Pritchard line. Look at the OG Anunoby line. You don't need to discuss anything else. 71 first half points. In the first 2 games in this series, the Celtics were 20 of 100 from 3. Today, they were 20 of 40 from 3. Who still is not playing like a star. was 5-9 from 3, including he coming out and hitting his first 4. Brown, who again I thought was still off and taking bad shots and making bad decisions, but 2 for 6 from 3. White, 3 for 6 from 3. Horford, 3 for 4 from 3. Holiday, 2 for 3 from 3. Okay, 20 for 40. Not like the last 2 games. Conversely, the Knicks. So the Celtics score 60 points from 3. The Knicks score 15. That's plus 45. Okay. Game 1, the Knicks were plus from 3. In this game, they were minus 45 points from 3. They shot 5 of 25, while the Celtics shot 20 of 40. Game, set, route. In every possible, Knicks throwing the ball away, Brunson throwing the ball away. I mean, just awful defense. At times, not great effort. Listen, that you come back where you have not played well. Now, I understand this year's theme in the NBA playoffs is nobody can win at home. First 6 games of this round in the East, the home team is 0-6. Everybody's winning on the road. Home means nothing. We have seen that. The Knicks, it's now a rarity if they win a game at home. They've been great on the road. The Celtics have been great on the road. Celtics were great on the road last year. And the Celtics came back and said, hey, sorry, mea culpa, we took them for granted. And now they know they go back to Boston. And the question is, can the Knicks show them that the first 2 games weren't a fluke? That is what will be discussed for the next 24 to 48 hours nationally. Oh, the Knicks just showed you that the first 2 games were about the Celtics taking them for granted. It wasn't about the Knicks. It's still the Celtics. It's still the Celtics. They're going to win game 4. They're going to win game 5. They're going to win game 6. They're going to move on. The Knicks have got to prove that's not going to happen. Do I think the Knicks will win this series if they lose game 4? I do not. I think already they know now they're in for a long series. The idea that they were going to break the Celtics' heart after beating them the 2 games from 20 points back, you know what? That should have been something that was a right to the jaw. There's no question about it. The Celtics have been beat up from pillar to post everywhere in this country for what went on in games 1 and 2. And they took it, and they came back, and they answered the bell today. And they will come out to answer the bell in game 4. Now it's the Knicks' turn to come out and prove that they can answer the bell in their own building on Monday night, where the crowd will try to come out and give them everything they can early. We always sell Madison Square Garden, as this special place that can lift teams. Well, you know what? The Knicks can't win on their building. Teams come in here and they run roughshod right through the place. Not because the crowd isn't any good. The crowd had nothing to cheer about. Hey, the crowd in the third quarter, well, if you looked around and people were having conversations and figuring out where they're going for dinner. What am I going to do with the rest of this day after this nonsense? In the fourth quarter, they were leaving with 7 minutes left. Well, why not? The game was over. Tibbs left the starters in until Brunson stepped up and talked him into, hey, why don't you take the starters out? 3 minutes left. He could have left them out there for 3 more minutes of embarrassing themselves as they had the entire game. But there's no reason to do that at that point. Was this game significant? Absolutely. It let the Celtics back in the series mentally, physically, in every way. They're back in the series now. This is now going to take a lot for the Knicks to win this series. The Knicks had an opportunity to break them. They weren't equal to the task. They weren't even remotely equal to the task. Up 2-0, getting hailed and patted on the back for 4 days as conquering heroes. They came out and laid a complete egg. They had to know the Celtics were going to come and play much better. They're a defending championship team. Did you think they were going to come here and not give it an effort and not play Celtic basketball? Did you not think you were going to see Celtic basketball at some point in the series? You saw it today. 20 of 40 from 3 plus 45 points from 3. That is, you can't make that up. You can't even stay in the game with that. 71 points in the first half. And in the third quarter, where you say, okay, we had a bad first half. We got to come out and set a tone. Celtics won the third quarter. And if not for a couple of buckets at the end, they would have won the fourth quarter. This was a absolute domination from pillar to post. The Knicks were never in this game, not for 1 minute, not for one timeout, not for one moment did they put one iota of fear into the Celtics in this game today. Not once. Not one time. And that's what Tibbs was looking for from his starters. He was hoping I can at least send a message for game 4. He couldn't even do that. Every time it looked like the Knicks were going to do something, they threw the ball out of bounds, or they got their shot blocked, or they gave up an open 3 or an open dunk or an offensive rebound basket. I still don't like things about the Celtic offense. But when you are going to get guys like White to hit open threes like that, and when you are going to have Pritchard, who is a pain in the neck, score like that, or get 15 points out of Horford, who makes 6 of 9 and makes 3 bombs, okay, and gets 9 rebounds and gets a couple of block shots and does the little things. And even Porzingis gave you a couple of minutes today, a couple of minutes. Every time the Celtics needed an answer or a play, they got a block, they got a dunk, they got a 3, they got a play. And the Knicks made sure to help them every stretch of the way. You can't have these ups and downs from your wings here. They cannot be a 0 part. Bridges, for all his fourth quarter heroics in games 1 and 2, Bridges, and listen, I'm as everyone knows, a big Bridges fan. I told you before the series started that Bridges was going to be the key if the Knicks were going to do anything. He was in the first 2 games. He has got to get himself in this game early. And listen, they need to get OG in the action early. That is what has to happen here. And it doesn't. They get the ball to Hart in much better places to score than they get the ball to OG. And Bridges usually does it on his own. And he makes some tough shots. I mean, he was 6 of 10 from the floor today. He makes some tough shots, but had no real impact on the game. And OG, I mean, that's a nightmare. That's an utter nightmare. I mean, he has become a threat from 3-0 today. Nothing today. 2 points in 30 minutes. And Robinson, listen, if he could make a free throw, and obviously it's in his head. I mean, 4 for 12 doesn't cut it. They're not going to stop that stuff at 4 for 12. They're not going to do it. And that's going to minimize his minutes on the floor when he is a disruptor when he is on the floor. He bothers the Celtics when he's on the floor. He impacts the game when he's on the floor. He impacts it on the offensive glass, where today in 18 minutes, he gets 6 offensive rebounds. He's a brilliant offensive rebounder. He opens it up for other guys around the basket. He gets his hands on a lot of plays, but the problem is he's being taken out of the game psychologically by the foul line. He now fears going to that foul line. And they're limiting his minutes because of it. I like that he gave Achua even a cameo today. He has got to play his bench against a team that is going to come off the bench with Pritchard and Porzingis and Cornette, who are players. You can't ask your 5 to go out there, all stay out of foul trouble, and all go up and down the floor the entire game with 8 men. And Porzingis doesn't look like a shade of himself. I mean, let's be honest, okay? He hit 5 points today because he made 5 free throws. He didn't hit a basket. He seems to have trouble even catching the ball right now. But at least he was out there and active for a couple of minutes today where he was, a functioning player. Nothing special. The best player on the floor today for the Celtics was Pritchard. He was brilliant. White was a pain in the neck against the Knicks in the first half, but Pritchard was sensational in this game. And I still think Tatum and Brown have got to figure things out. They make a lot of bad decisions on offense. They take a lot of bad shots. In the half court, inside the line, that Celtic team can be dealt with. It's outside the line where the problems start. And they're all looking to trigger those threes. And today, they got off fast, which gave them confidence, which all of a sudden was great. They hit 6 of their first 7 threes, and they were off and running, and they never looked back. You don't want to lose the fact that the Knicks are up 2-1 and still have a great opportunity in this series. But what you wanted to see today, you didn't get any of. And what you wanted this game to produce, it didn't. Even if the Celtics were going to steal it or win it late or have a tough grind, they needed some doubt going to game 4. They got nothing except complete vindication. But they're still down. They don't have any margin to fool around. And they'll come out knowing that, wanting to go back, drive this thing to Boston 2-2, and then get down to business. Making the best out of 3, and they get 2 in their building. Despite all this craziness on the road, they'd still much rather, and you would too, have game 7 in your building. It's not impossible to win a game 7 on the road. It's a little less possible to win one in Boston. It's possible, but even in this crazy times in the NBA, it's not probable. This was just a complete pathetic throwout. And there was a lot of people who I gather, there's nothing worse than a big event that is over early. There's no more deflating, and I've been in plenty of those buildings in my life where the game's just, you go there with incredible anticipation and the game is over before it starts. And that's what today was. But what it did was it got them off the mat and it pumped life and confidence right back into a team that you did not want to see get pumped full of life and confidence. And that was the Knicks' job here. And they failed it as badly as they could possibly fail it. This was an embarrassing performance, one that I would expect they will come out just absolutely loaded for bear on Monday night, because if you don't, where's your professional pride? You got embarrassed Saturday. These fans came in here, paid a fortune for this game, were anticipating the biggest game in eons in Madison Square Garden, and the Knicks didn't even give them a competitive game at any point in the ballgame. There was nothing to cheer. There was nothing to get behind. It was pathetic from the start. And that's exactly what should be in the Knicks' ears for the next 2 days, how pathetic it was. And if you just dismiss it and say Knicks are up 2-1, I love the position you're in, then you're not paying attention, because they gave back a lot of the middle ground today. They delivered haymakers in the first 2 games. They got dropped in round 3. Now they're still up 2 rounds to 1, but they took a big punch today. One I need to see them get up from. Because remember, there's still a lot of doubt about them, a lot less than there is about that Celtic team that already has a championship and knows what it can do in Madison Square Garden. They don't have any problems playing there. Matter of fact, nobody seems to have any problems playing there. So, what will the Knicks gain from what happened today? They should just be angry at themselves. And that should be their motivating factor for game 4, where their intensity should be over the moon. Because if it's not, they're going to go back to Boston 2-2. Now, a couple other things about the other series. Cleveland won last night easy. When I heard that Mobley and Garland and Hunter were playing, I thought Cleveland, which has played on such a level all year, would win the game. And they did. They won it the way the Celtics won this game. They got a big lead in the first quarter. Indiana raced back and got a tie at the end of the first quarter because the guys came off the bench and hit a bunch of threes. But Cleveland jumped right back in front and then put the game away in the second half and coasted home. But Kelly Atkinson said something after the game that to me was foreboding. He talked about how brave his guys were for going out and playing, especially Garland, who was off shooting, showed his quickness. And I don't know if they shot his foot up or his toe up, because toe injuries are devastating injuries for athletes. You wouldn't think they are, but they're devastating. Almost impossible to play with a toe injury, a serious toe injury. I don't care if it's NFL. I don't care if it's football or basketball. And really hard to play with those injuries. They're so painful. And they throw your balance off and your quickness off so much. And he talked about how banged up those 3 guys are and how brave it is that they're out there playing. And that makes me think these guys aren't over the hump yet. And I would expect Indiana to come back at them hard. And Indiana's in the same spot. To me, if they get beat by Cleveland in game 4 and it's 2-2, Cleveland's going to beat them in the series. Because Cleveland's the better team. And they had trouble with Indiana this year, I understand. But the bigger problem they had was they played without 3 play. They didn't play well in game 1, and then they played without 3, and who weren't healthy either. And then they played without 3 guys in game 2. And they gave away a game that they never should have gave away. And give Cleveland and their head coach credit. Not once did I hear them whine about the fact that they were apologized to by the NBA for 2 blatant bad decisions that were made in the final seconds, which without Indiana had no chance to win the game. And they didn't talk about that not one time. All Kelly Atkinson said was, "My team ran out of gas, and that we'll be okay." That's coaching. I was very impressed by that. Now, Golden State without Curry is putting a lot on Butler, and it's putting a lot on the rest of that squad because Curry is such a prolific scorer. The only guy who is better in the final stages of the game when you need one bucket in this league than Brunson is Curry. He's the only guy who's better. Curry is terrific at it. I mean, Brunson's terrific at it, but Curry's better. Curry's in his own league with that stuff. But I don't know how long he's out, but them winning games with him out is not going to be easy. Minnesota has to figure out how to do this because they don't know how to do it, especially offensively. And talking about not knowing how to do it is OKC. They're playing a very shrewd team led by a brilliant player and some other guys who are very good gamers. I mean, Murray, Gordon, Porter, even Westbrook, those guys are going to make plays and shots. And you got Jokic in the middle. That's a lot. OKC is long, and they're a pain in the neck to play against, and they can run you out of the building as they seem to do every other game. But they gave away a game last night they had no right losing. And they gave away a game in OKC they had no right losing. So that's 2 games in this series they've given away. How many more are they going to give away? With their youthful indiscretions and bad coaching decisions. You don't up 3. You don't start fouling with 13 seconds left. There's too much game left. You don't want to make your team have to execute 3 different times in the final seconds to win the game. Now, if you foul, if you want to, and I'm not a big believer in it, but if you want to foul up 3, I'm okay with it in the last 5 seconds. I think with 13 seconds left, and you're taking 1 second off the clock at a time, I think it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Why would you? The other team is begging you to extend the game, and you're extending the game from every play. And then last night, they couldn't get a good shot. They're not running anything that makes sense. They're just basically bouncing the ball, hoping their MVP is going to make a play. Last night, he couldn't buy one in the fourth quarter or overtime. And then what does he do? He starts saying, "Oh, I got to get the ball to somebody else." And he gets the ball to him with 4 on the shot clock. So they got to hoist up a bomb. And he did throw the ball to Buddy a couple of times last night. And he missed shots he should have made. He missed shots that he made last year. It happens. But they've won 1 game by over 40 and given away 2 games they should have won. They got blown out in overtime, but that game should have never gone to overtime last night. And the game they gave away at home, that game should have been over. And if they don't watch it, they're going to give away the series. Because this team will take it. Minnesota's not great, but if there's no Curry, I don't think Golden State can survive. And I don't know how long he's out for. With a hamstring, he could be out 2 or 3 weeks. You just don't know. He could try to come back and injure it. You know, if you pull a hamstring, if you've ever pulled a hamstring, it's as debilitating an injury. It feels like somebody, basically took a shotgun and shot you in the back of the leg. It seems like just you can't move, and it's such a heavy muscle that it's terrible. It paralyzes you. The second biggest muscle in the body. And he is invaluable on offense. So these series are all in a kind of weird place. And there seems to be extracurricular stuff and all kinds of side issues going on, whether the injuries here, Edwards had a little bit of a sprained ankle and Curry's out and Cleveland's got 3 key guys hurt and, OKC's showing their youth and Boston, did they take the Knicks for granted and whatever. And to have 6 games played in the East in the second round and have the road team win all 6 is bizarre. It really is. So I thought somebody asked me this weekend about if you could only go to which one game, which one would you go to? I said I would absolutely. I said first of all, I think the Celtics are going to win Game 3. I said if the Knicks play well, I still think the Celtics are going to find a way to win Game 3. I can't see them going down without a fight. So I'm not surprised. I was surprised by the one-sided nature of the game, that it was never competitive. But I had a feeling this was going to come down to Monday night. And I think it does come down to Monday night. If you're a Knicks fan and you want to dream the dream, I don't think you can dream that dream too strong if they don't win on Monday night. And Monday night will be the stars will still be there, but it's going to be the kids will be home. And it'll be raucous. It will be the fans will see if they can actually have an impact. They can't, but they can, because the Celtics can quiet them down by putting those threes in the basket. But they will try to have an impact on those proceedings. They've waited a long time for a night like Monday night, up 2-1 against the defending champion Boston Celtics, coming off a terrible Knicks performance. Hey, this is what you signed up for. I know you're up 2-1. You can say, oh, hey, look at the bright side. It's only one game. It was pathetic. It was bad. It was the Celtics saying, when we play our game, you might as well just get out of the way. That can't be the case. That can't be the case. The Knicks can't only beat the Celtics when the Celtics shoot 20% from 3, because they might not shoot 20% again. They were 20 for 100. Those were the 2 worst performances they had back to back in the entire year. It was not likely you were going to see that again. Which is why you saw Pritchard for 34 minutes, because he made a mistake the other night and he knew it. The way that guy shoots the ball and with the confidence he shoots it, he needs to be on the floor in these times. And now I think the rest of the series, you're going to see him on the floor a lot. Better take him seriously. And today, especially in that second half, there were way too many open threes. The first half, they hit some threes with guys hanging on them. In the second half, they hit a lot of open threes. Knicks need to get their act together in a big way, both ways. Right from Jump Street on Monday night. But hey, if you're a Knicks fan, this is what you signed up for. Monday night, second round, 2-1 lead with a chance to take a big step forward. What else could you ask for? But it's put up a shut up time. We'll see you later.